please, about Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter goes retrograde on the 20th of June, 2021, and he stays that way for about 4 months, coming back into direct motion on the 18th of October. Jupiter goes retrograde in the midst of a grand trine, trining a Scorpio moon at 1 degree of Scorpio, and the sun at 29 degrees of Gemini. Let's talk about these significators. Jupiter in Pisces asks us to go deep, right? Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Jupiter is the planet of growth, of experience, right? Jupiter was the king of the gods. He was full of life, full of vitality, and also full of himself, right? Which is not necessarily a terrible or bad thing. The moon in Scorpio at 1 degree is asking us to be very in touch, very deep, very clear, right? That is a moon that wants to be in union. It is a moon that wants to be shared. And the sun at 29 degrees of Gemini is a beautiful thing. Gemini being that access point for all potential. And the sun at 29 degrees of Gemini is in its dynamic best. So how do we accomplish all of those things? Well, we pay attention and we be willing, right? Jupiter in retrograde asks us to dive super, super deeply. The moon at 1 degree Scorpio asks us the same thing. And the sun at 29 Gemini is fully capable of processing all of that information. So this is about fearlessly diving into the depths, right? We also have Saturn Uranus square, very close to its second perfection, just coming out of that, and Neptune trining Venus, asking us to be in our higher and lower alignments. What happens to Jupiter over the next 4 months is really just a series of aspects with Venus and the Sun and Mercury. And so as those happen, we will be able to experience that deep, processing, right, of our experience. We may feel like our growth is a little bit curbed or stunted, but really what we're being asked is to use that mirror, that Pisces mirror, to dive deeply within ourselves, within our experience. Remember that Jupiter rules Sagittarius, right? And Sagittarius is an experiential planet, right? We learned, is an experiential energy. It's about learning through experience, right? It's not enough to simply hear a thing. It has to be felt in order to be processed. So Jupiter in Pisces it's not enough to feel a thing. We have to really experience it. We have to dive deeply within it. The moon beginning at 1 Scorpio allows us to do that. And so as we through July, Jupiter will move back into Aquarius, right? Creating that expansiveness in terms of other, right? Expansiveness in terms of, wow, our self within the collective, right? And what a better way to experience that Jupiter and Pisces energy than through our actuated self experiencing itself through the collective, right? And then in September, Mercury goes retrograde again, trine Jupiter and squaring Pluto. it's as though we just get pulled more and more and more deeply, which is beautiful for the energy that's that we're being asked to process right now. So as Jupiter aspects Venus and Mercury and the Sun, we will be looking at how we experience our feelings, right? The hows, the practical aspects of how and why, and how we communicate those things, and how in communication we create and recreate our story. And Jupiter can be a blessing or a ballast. And so you get to pick, right? And then on that day that Jupiter moves direct, the 18th of October, that second Mercury, or that next Mercury retrograde, also moves direct. So we're really creating our alignments, allowing ourselves at that point in October when Jupiter goes direct, right? He's also going direct, trining Mars and the Sun in Libra. So that's bringing us back into balance. So now you have this ability to dive deeply, and create your new story on the other side, day by day by day. Think about it. So we have the Ace of Swords and the Eight of Wands. The Ace of Swords is all about new ideas. The Eight of Wands is about forward motion. So it's about your ideas and what you do with them, right? Ace of Swords is about being given a gift from the universe. And it's about how you grasp that with gratitude and put it into action, right? It's not enough to have these ideas. You have to be prepared to act on them. So be in preparation, right? Be able to, if no other way, act actively in your experience, in your depths on these feelings. We have the Seven of Swords, we have the World. Seven of Swords is a card of deception, right? Five of Swords is about conflict. Two of Swords is about confusion or making a decision or not making a decision, right? So this is conflict in terms of what you're thinking, what you're doing, right? How are you deceiving yourself? How are you keeping yourself blind to the real situation? Well, we have the World in wow, clarifying. Thank you, that's the word I was looking for. We have the World clarifying. So this perhaps is releasing your confusion, releasing your own indecision, right? So that you can move forward and move out of this conflict, right? As you have this Ace of Swords, finding new ways for you to move forward, not necessarily being in them, but you know, that World is about integration. It's about really creating your vehicle to move forward. We've got the Palace of Cups and the Nine of Cups. In this deck, the Palace of Cups is really just about the experience of the element of water, right? And so we have talked about at the start of this, right? Jupiter is in Pisces, the moon is in Scorpio. Neptune is trining Venus in Pisces and Cancer as this whole Jupiter retrograde begins, right? Neptune goes retrograde, asking us to dive even more deeply, right? The Nine of Cups, this is a card of wish fulfillment, right? This is a card of how can you dive deeply? How can you be sustained in your in the depths? Well, guess what? You have to believe that you're sustained in the depths. You have to lose the illusion that that's not where you belong, because it is where you belong, right? And if you don't believe that, we have the Queen of Swords and the Two of Pentacles, right? The Queen of Swords asking us to use that sword of truth to cut through the bullshit. this bullshit here might be, oh, I'm juggling back and forth. I have this emotional drama that I'm dealing with back here. Yes, I do. Sure, I do. What am I going to do with it? Well, I'm just going to make a decision. And the decision I'm going to make is going to allow me to move forward and stop juggling back and forth, right? If this is about being able to explore the depths of that Pisces energy, then you have to release the beliefs that keep you tethered to your old stories, your old dramas, right? That Saturn-Uranus square is driving this. How are you creating your bondage? How are you out of alignment with your future? How are you out of alignment with all of the new things that wish to come in for you? How are you out of your own emotional wish fulfillment, right? What is keeping you off balance? And how can you get rid of that? How can you complete the cycle so that you can begin something new? Well, guess what? You just make a decision. You just decide that you're not going to haul this stuff around anymore, right? This is about looking back, looking over your shoulder. This is about not being present in your own life and experience. And the way that you become present in your own life and experience is to close one cycle and step fully into the new one, right? And if you're moving out of this realm of ideas, right, that 29-degree Gemini sun, and into this emotionally experiential cycle that's being asked, that's being offered, that's being demanded, in fact, the way to do that is to harness that energy of that 2-degree Jupiter, that 1-degree Scorpio moon, and that 29-degree Gemini sun that tells you, yes, absolutely anything you want is available to you, simply for your choosing, right? There's a lot of indecision in these cards. There's a lot of newness being offered, a lot of baggage looking to shift and change in alignment with what's in your actual heart and soul. If you can move out of your head, right, and know that you have the resources in either event, right, whether you choose to stay in your own ideas or whether you choose to embody this emotion, you have full access. You'll be resourced either way. What experience do you want, right? Do you want this experience of deception, or do you want this full experience of emotion, of the full depths, like living in your depths, in alignment with what you've been wishing for all along? I certainly might recommend at least giving that a little bit of thought, right? See, that's funny. As if the universe had something to say about it. Okay, so we have this beautiful card of 11, right? Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. 11, a master number. Harmony, balance, being in tune with others, right? We can't be in tune with ourselves if we're so busied out in the external world, right? We have to cut that that excess off, this indecision off, in order to be in presence with our feelings, right? You can't be in your head and in presence with your feelings. It just doesn't work that way. So this is balance, harmony, and being in tune with others. You don't get harmony when everyone sings the same note. Harmony is not achieved in isolation. It requires resonance or participation with others, linked by time, rhythm, or agreement. To be out of sync results in disharmony, discord, and conflict. These musical metaphors can easily be applied to other actions and relationships that require us to live, work, and generally relate to others. Adjusting our perspective and modifying our position allows us to disregard differences and move forward in tune with others. With deft fingers, the jester produces a melodic rainbow of harmony, her dress and the musical score sheet also working together to tell the same message of her delight. Green sleeves, of course. Be wary of always making adjustments for the common good. There will be occasions when you should take the lead, and solo performance is also required. Right, we're talking about Jupiter, right? We're talking about Jupiter going back into Aquarius, right? And maintaining your alignment through the end of that, through the 3 months, right, of that, the final, or the last bit of that retrograde. Once Jupiter moves back into Aquarius, don't be pulled out of your alignment, in alignment with what other people want you to do. Maintain your motion, your choice, in order to be in those depths, right? In your full experience. Jupiter does not want part of you. Jupiter wants all of you, right? Jupiter doesn't want just the bits that other people want to see, just the things that you're going to juggle in order to be sharing, right? Jupiter doesn't just want your head. Jupiter wants everything, right? Jupiter wants to be your wish fulfillment. And he's not going to be happy until you dive deeply and go into your full spectrum, right? So don't be afraid to dive deeply. Don't be afraid to follow an idea as deeply as it will take you, because you'll always find that plumb line to home. And looking behind you, looking out into the world, is going to lead you off into other directions. Diving deep. This is your challenge, right? Yeah. So stay in that alignment, guys. Really listen to the song, right? It will always sing you home. You know, right? Good luck. Big blessings, right? Jupiter's all about blessings. So you got blessings either way. It's just how you're going to feel and how you're going to choose to experience them outside of your head and into your soul, right? Big blessings.